Hello world. How does one survive living in a place that gets 6 meters or 20 feet of snow a year? Well, first off, you might want to start by not walking directly through it. But if you hypothetically do find yourself waist deep in snow, just take it one step at a time. Also, if you happen to be stupidly carrying a camera that's worth thousands of dollars in your hand, just remember the acronym APTC. Always protect the camera. Because if you didn't film it, did it really happen? But seriously, shovels. Yep, go to the home center. You got long ones, holy ones, scoop ones, pushy ones, metal ones, and for icy times, a pickaxe. But seriously, just have fun.
どうですか？お布団。
Okay, so I suppose I should really start this video. I'm in Aomori City, and I'm here to see how residents deal with all the snow on the daily. And I'll start by asking what a lot of you might be thinking, which is where is Aomori and why does the city get this much snow? To answer that, let's go back to 1961, because they have the best music, narration, and graphics.
毎年冬になると北海道や東北、北陸、山陰などの広い地域にたくさんの雪が降ります。冬を迎えると日本の周辺にはシベリアの高気圧から北西の季節風が吹くようになります。大陸からの乾いた冷たい空気は割合暖かい日本海を渡る間に多量の水蒸気を吸収します。この湿った空気は山脈に突き当たると強い上昇気流になって冷やされるので雪雲を作り、そこに多量の雪を降らせるのです。
Don't worry. 5 minutes after Nakamura-san got home, it became nice and sunny outside. The weather in Aomori City changes in the blink of an eye. 1 minute it'll be a snowstorm, the next calm and sunny, then an hour later, raining. Which makes it all the more important to have a nice, cozy home to return to, like Nakamura-san. By the way, he lives in a newly built, multi-generational home. So if it looks a bit bigger than what you're used to seeing in Japan, that's why. But it's a good showcase for the latest winter home technology. We'll also visit Hitoe-san's house, which is also large, as she runs a minpaku, a guest house.
これが、雪国ならではの風除室というものになります。これを開けると、こっちに、本物の玄関のドアがあって、これがないと寒い空気が家に直接入ってきたり。
玄関の前にちょっとこうちっちゃい場所があって、ここでコートを脱いだり、
雪が降った時は毎日使ったりするので、もうずっと外に置いてます。雪かきの道具、子供の遊び道具もありますけど。
ああいうちっちゃいストーブにはこれから灯油をここから入れるんですよね。冬はほぼ物置状態ですけども、これがなければまたもっと寒いと思うんですよね。
If you walk around neighborhoods, you'll see that most houses have these windbreak rooms. And this is something unique to northern Japan, so you won't find these kinds of rooms in Tokyo. We have similar double entrances in Canada for commercial stores, but I don't think I've ever seen this kind of entrance in a regular Canadian house. Perhaps our equivalent is the garage, which are often unheated and great places to store snow equipment.
まずは玄関前ですね。さっき使ってたのは雪を押すもので、プッシャーですね。でこれは雪をすくって避ける。雪の片付け方によって 何個かあって、これはまあ多分軽くするために穴を開けて軽量化してるのかな。硬い雪の時はこれだと壊れちゃうので、もっと強い硬い雪はこっち、硬い雪をこうやって、夜やったのに朝になったらまた雪が積もってて、ああもう一回っていうことがねよくあるんですよ。
So on days that it snows, which can be days on end, you can find yourself shoveling in the morning, during the day, and in the evening. As we were traveling around different parts of the city, you always saw people clearing snow around their homes, like this 86-year-old that wasn't even wearing gloves. So I had a good chuckle remembering a clip on the news of a young Canadian boy.
A snow day turned into a work day for Carter Trizzolo.
I really wish I was in school right now.
Trizzolo was clearing snow around not just his house, but also doing it
For my neighbors, friends, probably people I even don't know.
We happened to run into a young man in Aomori who was also helping his next-door neighbor with the snow.
ずーっと無言まで毎日やるのさ。性格がほらちゃんとしなきゃいけない。
すごい元気。
元気元気。もうお父さんは山に山菜は取りに行く、海に釣りに行く、何でもやるんだ。お父ちゃん何歳だって？何歳だかって聞いてる。
これが86。なんだ。
86で雪やって元気だって。
日中もやるわけ。
午前朝起きてお昼ぐらいまでやって。
まず昼前だな。
お昼食べて、まあ晴れてればそのままで、降ってればまた午後
ま
に
だ
来て。
やる。いいんだ食いでね健康だから。
雪やってるから健康なんだって。
やっぱりそうかもね。体動かないとね。そうダメだよやっぱり。
So Carter, if you don't like shoveling snow, be thankful you're not living in Aomori.
Tiring.
But seriously, Carter, respect for getting out there and clearing snow. One thing some places have in Aomori that can help with snow are driveways that melt it.
この辺がその地熱で水を深く一回潜らせて、で下の地下の熱で戻ってくる頃には温まってて、こうお湯を巡らすパイプが下を通ってるはず。あんまり力は強くないやつにしてるので、そんなにねこう全部溶けてるわけじゃないんだけど、多少は効果があるかなという。
ここは電気が入ってます。ここの下はこういうふうにだんだん溶けていくんですね。そうロードヒーティングといって、この電気の線が入ってるんです。半分だからこっちの雪をこっちに盛り上げておくと、今日みたいな天気のいい日はちょっとまで崩すんですね。散らかしておいて徐々に溶けていく。
So for those of you who might be a bit confused like me, the electric heating is on the left side, while the regular driveway is on the right. Because there's nowhere to put all her snow, she piles it on the heated side so that it'll slowly melt. Both the geothermal and electric systems are a lot weaker than I thought. They don't eliminate shoveling, but they do melt snow and prevent heavy ice formation, making it easier to clear a driveway. Anyone who's lived in a cold place will know that the light, fluffy snow isn't too much trouble to clear. It's when it's wet and heavy, or when it gets icy, that things get tough. These heated driveways diminish the need for ice clearing tools like the ice pick I showed earlier.
要はマットのないところが雪が溶けないので、ちょっとこういう状態なんですよ。これも電気です。
If you walk around the city, you can appreciate how useful they are. In other homes, the snow at the side of the house can pile right up to the roof. But with a little bit of heat from the electric mat, and being black, no problem. I also found that people in the city have a few other snow melting tricks up their sleeves.
穴が開いているここからシャワーが出て雪を溶かす。
風呂の残り水に水中ポンプを入れて こっちにこう流して溶かす感じでやってますね。これは結構3時間ぐらいやると全部は消えませんけど柔らかくなって。
In Japan, it's very common to use the previous day's bathwater for doing laundry, but in Aomori, some use it to melt snow. Aomori also has many hot springs, and a place we visited even had a free foot bath, which we put our hands in.
あったかい。
あったかい. The nearby onsen, a hot spring bathhouse, used their runoff water to melt snow from their driveway, so a much easier solution than putting a hose in your bathtub. And in the main shopping street of the city, they've piped in ocean water, which continually flows out of the center of the street, melting the snow away. In fact, you can see people pushing snow out into the street in order to melt it. While it is an effective way to keep the road clear of snow, some vehicle owners aren't fond of this 1 kilometer section of the city, since the salt water can speed up the rusting of their vehicles. To prevent rusting underneath vehicles, an option at the car wash is to spray off the undercarriage. One thing in northern Japan that completely surprised me was the use of storm sewers to clear snow. In many parts of Canada, it would be too cold to have flowing water in the storm sewer so close to the surface. But with the temperature here generally hovering just below freezing for most of the winter, water doesn't have a chance to freeze.
10メートルぐらいずつ入り口があって、それぞれの家の近くの人が使っている。そこも使えれば流せるんです。お、流れている。川の水が流れてて。こうやってでこっちに捨てる。はい、おしまい。
We visited a colder part of the city up in the mountains, and I was surprised to see that they still had flowing water in their storm sewer system. That steam rising over there in the background is from a hot spring. So it could be that the storm sewer has hot spring water in it, keeping it warm enough to flow, or it could also be that the water is flowing so fast it doesn't have a chance to freeze. Or it could be because that even though it is in the mountains, it's still not cold enough to freeze the water, or it's a combination of all three. Whatever the answer, ditching your snow in the storm sewer is a very viable option in these parts. Back on lower ground, I was equally surprised to see that the little canals they had were also used for dumping snow. There's even gates throughout the fence that open up. So if you walk along the canal, you'll see lots of people throwing in their snow. As I was walking a few blocks away from the little canal, I saw this guy towing snow in a sled. I was impressed to see this, as he must have been doing a 10-minute round trip for each sled full of snow. And I had seen him several times. If you look at the water, you can tell by the floating snow and ice chunks that it's heavily used by locals. These little canals are often part of streams that had historically made their way down to the ocean. I know that storm sewers will drain into these, and that in parts they will be first filtered and cleaned through a water plant. Now some of you who saw part 1, where they had big trucks dump snow into the ocean, wondered about the garbage that could go in. I asked and was told that they have placed nets in the area to catch garbage before it flows out into the ocean. While one might think it enough to simply clear the snow from a home's driveway and sidewalks, there is also sometimes the need to clear it from the roofs. Unless you have a snowless roof. A snowless roof?
これは屋根の雪を下ろす必要がない家、村苦節っていう家になっていて、屋根がこう平らな屋根のこの、へりというか際のところにあったかいお湯、温水を巡らせて凍るのを防いだり、つららになったりするので、それで防いだり。
It's in fact not completely flat. You can see that it's slanted, so that all the melted snow drains into the middle channel. You don't have to clear snow from this snowless roof, but...
時々ね、あそこの上の屋根の雪が気になる時があるので、そこは家の中からあそこに出て、雪を下にじゃんじゃが下ろす。他のお家だと三角の屋根になってるところもあって、それだと屋根の雪がドカドカって下に落ちちゃうので、危なくなる前にもう自分で落とす。だからはしごをかける、はしごをもともとつけてるっていう家があるんですけど、今時のうちは多分みんなね、そういうのやんないで、家も丈夫になってるので。
And to be clear, there are flat roof buildings that do need snow clearing, like this one.
100センチとか150センチとかあっても耐えれるような強いカーポートになってますね。
You could definitely tell that the carports are built sturdier in Aomori versus a place like Tokyo, which rarely receives snow. After all the snow clearing equipment, I'm sure you must have been wondering about snow blowers. I did in fact find them, but there's probably less of them kicking around than you might imagine. So I'm happy I stopped by this little hamlet in the mountains where I stumbled upon a couple of them. I wasn't able to catch this one in action, but dang, look at the size of this one. It's a beast. You know what I find amazing? This is my second video about Snow City Aomori, and I'm still not done yet. I have to talk about the driving. I have to talk about the airport and their special White Impulse snow clearing team. I also went inside an older home and saw how one deals with keeping it warm and drying clothes without a dryer. Oh yeah, trains! All that plus a bunch of other little things that I found fascinating about the City of Snow. And if you have any questions, please quickly leave them in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them in part 3. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace. How much do you love shoveling snow? Yowai! すごく弱い。